What's up, everybody? Tiffany Outdoors here today. I'm working on something special. Can you see it in the background? Look at that. This is a headboard. Let's talk about this. There's the hawk. Before there was a Tiffany Outdoors, there was Tiffany the farmer.
On a U-turn when possible.
No, we're not U-turning.
Hi. Hi, what are you doing? Hi, Boo.
What? Whew, it's a chilly one out here today. It is 52 degrees. It's a chilly one. I got my little heater over here. I'm going to plug that in a minute. The story of this bed. So I have the headboard here, footboard over there. You see, I've already started scraping off the finish on here. Alright, so how I got this. It's not mine. How my friend asked me to help her with this. She and her husband go to these auctions all the time, and they got this headboard and footboard. I had the rails. Rails are in my other shed. So they asked me, there's the footboard over there. They asked me, hey Tiff, is there any way that you can refinish this for us? We want it restained, and we want it to look good. So I went, looked at it. I drove to their house and looked at it, and let me show you what it looked like beforehand. So all I see is all these crevices. It's very ornate. Very ornate. You see where, you know, I can understand why they wanted it redone, because, you know, but all these bumps, lumps, grooves. I took one look at that and I was like, there ain't no way. There's no way. I said, I cannot. I said, it will cost you an arm and a leg for me to scrape all that off. It'd be better for me to just spray paint it. And they agreed. They said, okay, that's fine. Got a color picked out to match the colors of their house, and color is beautiful. It's like a gray color, beautiful color. And I said, well, what I'll do is I'll preserve this design here. I'll preserve that and paint around it. Okay, cool, got it. All right, agreed to that. So I pulled out my orbital sander, started doing a scuff sand, and this finish is just coming off, going down to straight bare wood. I was like, my goodness, this finish is like coming off so easily. And then I got a little intrigued about that design, because it's not a design that I've seen before. I mean, I've not been doing furniture that long, but out of all the pieces that I've looked at, I've never seen that design on a piece of furniture. So I took a picture of it, did a Google image search, and this bed is over 100 years old. This is not a vintage piece. It's actually an antique, which is 100 plus years old. There's a bed similar on Etsy that's for sale for like $1,200. So as I was doing the scuff sand, I started seeing how easy this was. So I came in here in my workshop, grabbed my paint scraper, and the paint was just coming off, just minimal pressure. So I started thinking, hey, if this 100-year-old finish is coming off this easy, I'm willing to take the time to scrape it down to bare wood, sand it, and stain it. I think stain would do this piece more justice than paint. I couldn't get a hold of Kathy that day, but that evening, later on that evening, she said, okay, if you feel like it'll go it'll go or look a lot better with stain, go ahead and stain it. And then I asked her, well, how much do you want to put into this? Because this is going to be a lot of time and effort, and I had to buy some tools to help me scrape, because look, there's no way I can sand that. I have to get in there with like some tools and things to get all that finish off and get it back down to bare wood like I was able to get up top here. And she talked to her husband. He said, whatever it costs, go for it. But don't let it be over $1,000. And when you get to $500, let us know. So, I'm not going to discuss how much I'm going to charge them for this. They're friends of mine. They have bought a lot of stuff from me, a lot of woodworking stuff. So, of course, I'm going to give them a great deal on this. So, what I did, I bought some tools. I bought contour scraper. This right here, see, it's got a point right there so I can get in those crevices. Got little small, all different shapes there to help me in those different things. And I also bought some contour sanding grip things. And I've seen, there's like, I think there's 12 in here. Yeah. Oh, oops, my goodness. My thumb gave out. I couldn't hold it. 11 pieces with 21 profile contours, angle sanding grip pack, which these I'm hoping will help me get in these little crevices and things. So I'm going to go ahead and continue scraping on this. I know on some of these I'm going to have to use a razor blade to get in there in the little crevices and things. And some of this, the finish is a little bit on there, a little bit better, or a little bit more firmly. I'm going to use some stripper on that. So I've already got 2 hours of scraping so far, and this is what it looks like beforehand. Got a nice dark finish on it, and this is after scraping some of it off. So yeah, I'm very excited to get started on this. I'm done talking for now. I've been talking for about a long time, but anyway, now I'm gonna get my chair. I got a heater. I'm gonna sit down and get to work on these crevices. Got my glasses so I can see, and I'm excited. All right, here we go. So the hardest part about this is you want to scrape hard enough to get the finish off, but not hard enough that you're gouging the wood. So I'm constantly adjusting the pressure that I use. You do not want to gouge the wood. But you have to get all this finish off in order to get a really good clean look. It's coming off so easily, y'all. Yeah, I'm just putting just a minimal pressure on this, and this stuff is just coming off like, it's just flaking off like paper. And this is going to take me some time to get this stuff off, but I think this piece is worth it. I really do. Alright, I'm not going to bore you guys with all this little detail scraping, but I am going to go ahead and shut this camera off, sit down, and get to work. Alright, y'all, I've got the headboard just about done. I went on ahead and scraped off as much as I could with the scraper. Then I went over it with some furniture stripper. And now I'm down to the sanding process. And this is what it looks like now. And there's still a little spot there that probably could have sat a little bit longer with the stripper. There. But yeah, it's coming along quite nicely. And I'm hand sanding in between all these little grooves. But I tell you what, these contour sanders here, these with all these different angles and things, and there's each side has a shape that has helped immensely getting in these little nooks and crannies. Right now I'm working on the footboard, so let's go out and take a look at that. I have stripper on it, and it's time to go ahead and take the stripper off. This is going quite nicely. This has been sitting for a minute. It's kind of chilly out here. The stripper is a little bit dried up, but it's going to be okay. So I'm just going to clean this up with some mineral spirits. Got my chemical gloves there. Got the safety glasses in my hand. Now, let's get to getting the stripper off. Whatever the stripper doesn't get off, the sanding process will get that off. Whatever's left, if there's anything left on here. Alright. Now, moving on to the next section, I'm going to go to the other post. Or I could go to the end of this. So I'm only working in small sections, so I'm going to get that section next. Alright, I'm going to go set a timer and let that sit for 15 minutes, and then we'll come back and put more mineral spirits on there. And then I'll do the other leg this middle section here, then I'll flip it over and do the same thing. So after I do all of that, I'll show you guys what it looks like in the end. Look how dark that wood looks when it's wet compared to when it's dry. It's pretty dark. But yes, this is coming along quite nicely. While that stripper is doing its magic, I'm bringing you guys in here to show you the sanding process, or a little bit of it. I'm not going to bore you guys with a bunch of sanding, but that's all that is sanded. All the little lumps and bumps and knobs just on the leg part. Oh, I didn't go sand down that far, just to there. And then I hand sanded all of this section here. All of that's been hand sanded, especially around that little design there. And this is what it looks like before I do any sanding. So you see how dark that is compared to that one. It's a little bit of a difference. But yeah. First thing I'm going to do is take this contour here and go through all the little small little nooks and crannies. See how that'll fit in there, and scrape there. All of those little nooks and crannies, I'll do that first, and then I'll flip it over and use the other side and hand sand all around the bigger pieces there. And I'm using 150 grit sandpaper. All right. And guys, I'm gonna tell you, these things are amazing. They work wonderfully. I will tell you this, they do hurt my hands, but you know, I keep saying this over and over. I do have arthritis, and yes, it hurts a lot. I'm not doing a heavy sand, just a light sand, guys. I'm not trying to whittle this thing down to nothing. I just want to get a nice, clean, smooth surface. And any leftover finish that might be on there needs to come off. I'm just getting all the little nooks and crannies first. This bed has tons of them. And then after I do a light sand, I'm going to wipe this down with a slightly dampened cloth. We'll let this dry for another 24 hours. Then we will be ready to put on stain. It's getting close. Getting close. And this project here has really elevated my experience. I love it. Oh, I don't think I remember telling you guys how much they paid for this bed that's worth $1,200. They paid $20. $20 at an auction. Alright guys, I'm gonna stop this now, and I'm not gonna bore you with this process, but I am gonna hand sand this, and then I'm gonna use my orbital sander on the back and these bottom piece here, all the down there, and then the back I'm gonna use my orbital sander on that. But that right there, I gotta hand sand that part. Orbital sander on all that, the straight part there. That'll be easy to sand. Alright y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and get to working some more on this, and I'll come back and pick you guys up when it's time to pick out the stain and get this thing stained. Like I said, after I sand it, wipe it off with a damp cloth, let it dry for 24 to 48 hours, and then yeah, stain and then finish. Yes. Okay. I'll see you guys when I get to that step. Okay. See ya.